So that's day 30. I'll be honest, I really didn't expect that.
In this video, I will be clean eating and intermittent fasting for 30 days in order to change my eating habits and future-proof my health, so I don't continue on this path of becoming an unhealthy middle-aged person. There will be highs and there will be lows, so stick with this video to see if the changes make any difference. None of us are getting any younger, but I've hit a point in my life, if I don't make changes now, my lifestyle behaviour could result in some serious health issues in a few years' time. This used to be me. I played sport into my late 30s, ate well, and was generally healthy. But then life caught up. I'm over 40, have a family, have a desk job, and generally have less time for me. This resulted in 3 issues materialising. Time is a premium, so exercise became less of a priority as spending more time with my kids was the focus. I've developed bad posture. Sitting all day at a desk, using a smartphone and carrying small children have all contributed to a bad back. And lastly, I've started to make bad food choices. I've been looking for convenience food due to poor planning, eating leftover food from the kids as well as my own, so contributing to extra calories, and snacking on sugary treats because my eating wasn't structured. All of these bad habits meant I was seeing a change in my mood and my body shape. For this video, we're going to look at my eating habits. I do actually enjoy cooking from scratch, so adopting a strategy like clean eating seems like a straightforward approach, as a number of studies and experts have demonstrated processed foods are not good for you.
Ingesting highly processed food leads to more intake of not just highly processed foods, but other types of food in general. There was kind of an overeating compensation generally across foods for people that consume these highly processed foods.
The second aspect was that I would adopt an intermittent fasting strategy. Now, I've seen a number of people discuss this on YouTube, but would it work for me? I wanted to see if this strategy would stop my snacking, but also maintain a healthy weight.
Intermittent fasting has a lot of different potential benefits. For some people, it's a convenient way to restrict their calories. For other people, it's a convenient way to avoid eating. That is, it's easier to not eat than to eat a small portion, so they opt for intermittent fasting.
I decided to set some parameters. I would choose foods that are as natural as possible. Lots of fruit, veg, and lean meat. I would cut back on processed and ultra-processed food, so no convenience food or ready meals. I felt it was important that it fitted in with the family's food plan for the week, because I didn't want the burden of having to cook additional meals on top of everyone else's. I would adopt a 16-8 intermittent fasting period, or as close to this as possible. My meal times would roughly be 12 noon, 4 p.m, 8 p.m. I needed to understand my starting point, so I set about recording weight and taking some body measurements for comparison later on. I also recorded my mood in the 2 weeks prior to the change. So I started the week well, planning and preparing my meals with enthusiasm and gusto. There was a spring in my step and I felt positive about the potential benefits the change will bring. So we're coming to the end of week 1 and it's gone okay. Don't get me wrong, I am really hungry at times, and I think it's just that shift where I've gone from eating whenever I wanted, my main meals and snacking, to now this prolonged fasting period. But the biggest thing is the snacking. I've cut that out altogether. Previously, I used to have my food at 8 o'clock in the evening, and then by about 8:30, 9 o'clock, I'm opening cupboards looking for food. And it's not because I'm hungry, I think it's because of habit. I can manage the morning hunger because I haven't always had breakfast, or I haven't always had breakfast as soon as I've woken up. So prolonging it till about 12 is manageable for me. And then the second thing is my mood. I think it's dropped slightly, probably because I'm hungry all the time. But I'm hoping as time goes on and my energy levels sort of remain consistent and they stabilize a bit, that the mood will increase. All the literature is telling me that that's going to happen, so fingers crossed. Anyway, on to week 2. Week 2, and I'm still trying to stay positive, but I was starting to miss the snacks, and I would find myself opening the fridge and cupboards, but it was time to stay strong. We've come to the end of week 2, and a bit of a realization from me. I think I have sugar withdrawal symptoms. There are times when I'm a little bit dizzy, I feel nauseous, I have no concentration, I'm really irritable. And I didn't think I took in a lot of sugar or consumed a lot of sugar prior to this challenge, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there was quite a lot of hidden sugar that I didn't know in a lot of the meals or the processed meals that I was consuming. On top of that as well, I've realized I consume most of my fluids during my meal times or when I'm eating. So I've gone periods now of forgetting to drink.
And this seems like a really simple thing, and it's contributing probably to some of those symptoms as well, but I'm dehydrated. And the final thing I wanted to mention was exercise. I am continuing to train to the level I was prior to the challenge. And I haven't really seen much of a dip in performance of them. I have seen probably a dip in motivation to do them, but then motivation across the board has dipped. So
It was the third week and things were going well until...
Right, sod's law, I got a cold. And it was inevitable that it wasn't going to go and be straightforward, this challenge. Yeah, so I'm bunged up, I got a bit of a cough and a tickly throat. But what generally tends to happen when I'm not feeling very well, or I'm hungover, I just crave fatty, sugary foods. And I'm trying my hardest not to give in at the moment to either a takeaway or something just, proper comfort food, something like bread based, a big fat meaty sandwich. And as you know, the challenge isn't always about cutting everything out. It's about trying to be, maybe 95% good and eating as clean as possible. But I'm not going to succumb to it. I'll ride it out for a day or so, I'm sure it'll be fine. But I feel rotten.
But then, at the end of week 3, once I rode out the cold I'd had, things picked up. I was no longer craving sugar and fatty food. I wasn't looking for snacks, and my hunger between meals decreased. I felt I had some more energy, and there was a spring in my step again. Maybe, just maybe, I'll get to the end of this challenge with a positive experience. So that's 30 days, and I'll have to admit, it's been a bit of a revelation. When I look back to where I was 4 weeks ago with my eating habits, I was in a pretty shitty cycle of consuming the wrong foods and had no control over the limits. There was 2 main takeaways for me from this experience. Previously, I didn't have the greatest relationship with convenience food, and I wasn't consistent with my food planning. But the changes have allowed me to bring some structure to my food planning and eating. As strange as it sounds, I really enjoy the intermittent fasting. And although it started off as a challenge to complete, it is now just part of my daily schedule. I did miss having a sweet treat whenever I wanted, but this challenge showed me that I didn't see them as a treat. They were an everyday thing, and now that has changed for the better. But what about the data? I lost weight. My primary goal was changing habits, not losing weight, but I lost a total of 6 pounds. I also reduced my waist, hip, and chest measurements. And there was a notable positive difference in my mood and energy towards the end of the challenge. But this was about habits and relationships with food, and I definitely feel I've overachieved. So that leaves me with one final question. Will I continue with the changes? Definitely. Intermittent fasting is now part of my daily routine and will take minimal effort to maintain. I would like to think that the clean eating will continue most of the time, but I am very mindful of slipping back into very bad habits. So what do I do next? If you've got any suggestions, let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel to watch more videos like this in the future.